Okay, there we go. All right, welcome back everybody to Coffee and Art in the Morning. I'm Dede, and we're back with I got a couple more clip art books, and then I have some stamp catalogs that we were talking about in part one, and then I have a couple art books that we were talking about as well. So I don't know if we'll actually get to a project today, but if you're not, inspiration, idea collecting things, not for everybody, but hey, watch next time and we'll be drawing a portrait or an art journal or something if we don't get to it today. So, anyway, so the last two clip art books that I didn't get to in part one, banners, ribbons, and scrolls. I did show a different one that had banners, ribbons, and scrolls, or maybe, yeah, this is a separate one. And it is all these different little scrolls and banners, and it's kind of got all kinds of little, like, here's a good image of how a scroll looks when it's rolled up. So if you need to, know how to draw a banner or a scroll, this book's for you. And then finally, in the clip art category, 1100 designs and motifs from historic sources. I already showed the ironwork one and the architectural one, and this is kind of the same type of thing with all kinds of. And in the beginning here, it talks about each of the plates and where they got the designs. That's not always the case in the clip art books, but this one has a paragraph on each page where they got them, what they are, what country, what era. Like here's Egyptian. So, Inspiration Monday today. Yeah, Terry. I just like to, show some ideas and idea collecting and inspiration every now and then. And I thought that, it just it's good to be able to know how to generate some ideas and collecting them. And I usually keep them in 3-ring notebooks and binders, and you can draw and doodle and sketch any of your ideas out just on 3-ring school paper, printer paper. Here we did a few in part one. These are just some quick little ideas and sketches and mind mapping and listing. And like, for instance, a turtle's back having a storyboard on it. And we thought of a traveling storyboard turtle. And I just thought that's fun. I like that. Some checkerboard with little Mickey Mouse, some lists and things for a little bit of mini mind mapping, just to kind of. And then this is just a book. It's like my glue book and pen and ink book. So it's just like all kinds of things like that. It's a freestyle, really big notebook. Get these at Amazon. They're probably about $20, but the shipping, you want to have Prime because this is a heavy book. So anyway, we're just doing some little doodles and drawings in this book with a pen when we are, sketching some ideas out. But again, inlays, metalwork, Gothic, Byzantine, Moorish, Persian, Indian, Roman, all different, Greek, and again, back to the Egyptian. So it's all different eras, and there's a Renaissance. So, yeah, floral motifs, all this stuff. And again, you can find any and all of this kind of stuff on just Googling it. Just designs and motifs from historic sources. You'll get tons of it. This one is a Dover, and it is from 1995. All right, so there's some of the clip art books. Now, real quickly, I'm just somebody asked about stamp catalogs. Here are some of my old stamp catalogs. I just grabbed a handful off the shelf. I'll make sure there's no addresses or anything. I don't think these are all old. Again, this one's like 25 years old, 1994. No, 1992. This one's from 1992, and it's a 100-proof press. I don't know how many of these stamp companies are still in business, but I love 100-proof press was probably one of my favorites because of they just had different kinds of images that were unique at the time. You know, they were just very unique at the time. Kind of like reminds me of Viva Las Vegas stamps now, where Sherry's been off and on. She's been one of their design team members. But I mean, just all kinds of this was unusual, or unique, I should say, back in 2092. And they also had a lot of mirror images. I mean, it's just, I hope you can kind of see some of it. All kinds of household. It's kind of like some of the clip art books that I just showed you, where they made, stamps out of those vintage imagery. All kinds of doors, arches, doorknobs, castles. And we used to do mail art like scenes a lot. We do actual mail art with envelopes and actually mailing them out, and that we decorate the envelopes with full-on scenes, all kinds of things. So anyway, this one was 100 proof press. Yeah, very detailed. This one was Gumbo Graphics. Gumbo Graphics rubber stamps. And again, let me see when this one was. Looking around for their copyrights. This one's 1993. 1993. Bye, Teresa. Thanks, everybody, for being here. So again, unique types of stamps, especially if you wanted to do storytelling. If you wanted to do storytelling with your stamps, just tons of stuff. Here's one. Some of these, like I know I have that one because I have it circled there. And at the time, this was unmounted rubber. Unmounted rubber was $4.75 for that stamp. Just that one stamp. Look, vintage box of crayons. You like them too, Gumbo Graphics? Yeah. Vintage paint tubes and wings on the paint. I have that little hand. Again, and these are actual size. This is true size. So that little hand right there at the time was $4.75. You can see how small. Unmounted rubber. Animals. Just tons of stuff. Okay, let's see what else we have. This clear stamp. Here's a clear stamp from 1994 and 1995. These had a lot of cute things in them. A lot of cuter stuff, if I remember correctly. And it also had all their color box stamp pads or rollers. These were roller stamps. I'm sure some of y'all probably remember the rolling stamps. But look at the ideas you could get. Look at all the little row of pansies. I mean, they're just inspirational. I could never throw these away because they're inspirational, right? The paper garden. This one was from San Antonio. Let's see if it has a date. I'm not seeing a date, but these kind look like the hand carved look on this page. Little Santas, little cute stuff on this one. Angels and houses and sayings. Little Indian, well, I don't know if they're all, I can't say that they're all Native American, but like this one probably is. I don't know, some of them kind of might be Incan. Little sayings. So that one, it doesn't have a date on it. Let's see what else we have here. So I even got the little coupon just fell out. $2 off. Mars Tokyo, Rubber Stamp Company, Baltimore, Maryland. And these are like, this was this is like a flyer, an extra insert. When was this? Again, they may or may not have dates on them all. Let's look on the inside here. I'm sure they're all pretty much early 90s. Early 90s. See, these are let's see if I can see a stamp date on this one. 1990 something, but I can't read it. But again, look at these. But now I know that, like, Viva Las Vegas stamps, VL, what's the initials? Sherry, Viva Las Vegas, is it VLVS? VLVS. Yeah. Has this kind of stuff now. I mean, they still have it now. You do, Sherry, remember that? Okay, I'm just going to quickly show these. Again, this show's not for everybody today. It's just some ideas here. All right, this one, I don't know if the cover's gone or what. Yeah, this is page 4. So the cover's gone off of this one. Again, look at the hand-carved look of these. Like that one. There we go. There you go, Vicki. Vicki likes her skulls and her. She likes those images. Some little cute faces, little doodly faces, all kinds. Let me see. Maybe there's in the center. There's a order form or blank or something. Not sure who this one is, but they have all kinds of cute stuff. A little variety of everything. Then let's see. Holly Berry House. Again, cute ones. Cute type bunnies. This one's 1993. Little folk art. This was very popular. Little angels, bears, hand painting all these little quilts. All this was very, y'all are young. I still stands for Las Vegas if anyone else. Then let's see. This is detailed rubber stamps out of Brooklyn, New York. Again, I gotta be careful. There are a couple of sometimes there's a couple of naked ones in there. Gotta kind of be careful. But you can kind of see again. All kinds of oddities. San Francisco. I think, are they still around? One of y'all might know this. This is one of their inserts or their flyers. Let's see if we got any dates on this. And I don't know how many of y'all have been to stamp shows before. We used to have them all over the place. It was like before scrapbooking, before all the scrapbooking stores came out. They had rubber stamp stores. Some of y'all remember that. I mean, like rubber stamp shows. Looking for some dates. Stamp Art Gallery. The first American gallery featuring international rubber stamp art. Don't have a date. It says November, but it doesn't have a year. This was female art. If y'all remember that. What other flyers were in here? Yeah, I kept all this stuff because you just got to. Don't tell Denise. Yeah, they are. Stamp Francisco is still in business. Okay, yeah, don't tell Denise I have these. She'll make me throw them away. Good Stamps, Stamp Goods. This one's out of California. Of course, California had tons of them. Where's Debbie Boring? She'll know. This one is 1991. This one's 1991. Again, look. going to a big rubber stamp show in June. You are right. We used to have, I don't know if Atlanta still has, they kind of went to toward the scrapbooking shows and the paper shows. And people would still sell rubber stamps and things there, but it wasn't just a full-on rubber stamp show like they have had in the past. I don't know if Atlanta still has them. I haven't really paid attention, to tell you the truth. Yeah, rubber baby buggy bumpers. I might have one of those here as well, just so you can kind of see. But look at all the inspiration. Look at the little cactus, the cacti. I mean, it's just, you just flip through one of these with a pen in hand. You don't have to try to draw these things, but you can get ideas from them, right? Oh my gosh. Shipping was no more, $50 and up was only $4. That was like the highest thing you'd pay for shipping. And anything under $10, you'd only pay $1.25. Yeah, I'm the boss of my Denise. I don't know. When she's here, it's hard to be the boss of Denise, I'll tell you. I gotta tell you the story though. She was saying that she got a promotion at work, and she says, "I love my job. I love my job. They'll have to pry my mouse out of my cold dead hand before I ever leave that company." And she said the other day, she went to grab her mouse, and she grabbed her raisin muffin and was doing this with her raisin muffin. She goes, "Why isn't my mouse working?" And she realized she grabbed her muffin and was trying. I know. Thanks, Vicky. I'll tell you so. Congrats. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. We got here a stamp. That's the That's the envelope. Here's a flyer from Hunter Proof Press. Um, And the other thing too, guys, I don't know if you know this, is that the stamp catalogs would make these. They try to make them like copy proof. They do in blue, purple, so that they wouldn't copy. So you couldn't copy them on the copy machine. We didn't have printers. We had copy machines like at Kinko's, right? Did it roll? But it was funny. She goes, "I'm not leaving this company. They'll have to pry my mouse out of my cold dead hand." Hand carved stamps. Okay. International exhibit of hand carved rubber stamps. Oh, this is the Stamp Gallery, Stamp Art Gallery in San Francisco, 1992. This is what was popular in 1992. The hand carved stamp, International exhibit of hand carved rubber stamps. Just let y'all see a couple of them there. I do have, there was an article, what was it in? Was it in Flow? I kept, here it is. There was an article in Flow magazine. Let me take this out of the book here. I think it was in Flow magazine. Oh, and I stamped my moon pie. This Miss Lisa, if y'all know Lisa, our Miss Lisa, her very first rubber stamp. Look, Vicky, I think you remember. She carved me a moon pie. That's a moon pie, people. Moon pie and RC cola. Anyway, that was Lisa's very first carved stamp, and she sent it to me, and I love it. So that's in the back of the. But anyway, I kept this article. Um, I kept the images from the article. These are all this one girl's hand carved stamps. I can't read it backwards what it says. But anyway, these are all on the, the rubber erasers, like the magic rub erasers, and other things it looks like too. But I recognize the magic rub erasers or something very similar. But I loved all these stamps. Just this, it's a photograph that they've laid out all her stamp. Well, not even all of them. Those are just some of them. And so I love this whole page. So I just tore this page out of the magazine and glued it on the inside of this book. My composition, well, it's the Moleskine large, this one. I glued it on the inside cover because I just like the images. I've got quite a few hand carved stamps that I've done. And I've shown y'all how to get images and put them on the rubber. Aren't they awesome? Just look up, you can find all this kind of stuff online, I'm telling you. Put in Google Images, photographs of hand carved rubber stamps. You'll find thousands. Okay, so let me put this back over here. I don't want to. Okay, real quick again, let me share this. If y'all didn't see it last week, um, go to Heart Journal Magazine. There's the cover there. The March issue, Heart Journal Magazine. And you have until March 15th. If you put in this code, Art for March, lowercase, by the 15th, you can get that issue for free. Okay, thank you, Carla, for that. All right. Yeah, let's see. What else do we have here? This is a 1993 quarterly supplement from Detailed Rubber Stamps out of Brooklyn. And it's kind of like their little newsletter. All kinds of little, all kinds of skulls, skeletons, faux postage. Faux postage. I'll tell you who really made that like something really awesome, and that's Nick Bantock. And we're getting to books now in just a second. I'll have to show Nick Bantock. If y'all don't know Griffin and Sabine, I'll have to show that too. Let me grab that. I'm going to have a ton of things to put away. After we're done here, after we're done talking books, I mean, I'm going to have an hour's worth of rebuilding my bookshelves here. Okay, well, I'll talk about Griffin, Sabine, and Nick Bantock in a minute too. All right, let's see. Let's finish these. I only got a couple more catalogs here. Let me cover up the addresses. Fruit Basket Upset out of Seattle, Washington. Not sure they're still around, but there's them. There's another supplement from Hunter Proof Press. Oh, here's Fruit Basket Upset, Seattle, Washington. Again, let's see what year this is. It doesn't say. Probably maybe in the back. So they're very, different kind of stamps. Again, now Viva Las Vegas Stamps carries this type of things. Tessa, you got rid of your books by Nick Bantock? Oh. I have some of his ink pads, Paul. I don't have his stamps, but I have his ink pads. Let's see if I can grab one here. There's a couple. I'll just grab two here. Well, actually, I got two of the same one. Nick Bantock. They came in these little tins. It's kind of like the pre-Ranger distress pad things. So yeah, Ranger made these. Nick Bantock. I have about 6 or 8 of these. They're starting to rust. They're actually starting to rust. Okay, so that's a stamp catalog. Let me make a little space here, guys. Let me pick up a couple because I can't even turn my chair with all the clip-art books on the floor. Hang on. pick up a couple handfuls of books so I'm not falling over them. So again, I hope y'all kind of enjoyed the clip art thing. Just at least get them out of my way. Move them over the other side of the room. Okay. Oh, there's more. Oh, these are the lettering ones. Okay. Keep that out. All right, let me take a sip of coffee. Move some of these sketch pads out of the way. I'll keep this handy in case we want to do any quick ideas. You like the stamp pads? I know, mine still work too. A couple of them are a little on the, weak side, Debbie. But I love the 10s. Paula has hers treasured. Okay. So now back to the books. Okay. So in part 1, earlier we were talking about some different books. We're talking about Anamorphia coloring book, which, I'm not going to show all that right now because we've gone through this book quite often and shown some of the pages that I say we because if I color them here, it's like we, right? But when we're saying Anamorphia, Terry corrected me when I said Animalia. Well, the reason I said Animalia is because I was thinking of this book. So I have Animalia and the 11th Hour, and I love these. I think I follow him and also Mike Wilkes on Facebook. But I love these books for like their little hidden things and the little things the details in them and all that. So 11th Hour, I think, is this the one that you bought, Vicki, when we showed it a while back? So I have the cover here. Let's see. See what year. What year is this one? I think Annie bought this for me at a vintage children's bookstore in LA. I think she bought me this one. 1986. This is 1980. Yeah, she did. She got it for $4.95 in a bookstore in LA. And it has the cover here. I just took it off. So, yeah, she knows I love vintage children's books. So, again, look at this. I mean, awesome, awesome. Yes, your Anamorphia is all roughed up from use. Well loved. Debbie Bourne says, I have to pretend I'm moving. That's the only way I can purge anything. You bought the Animalia one, Vicki. But isn't it awesome? Look at this. And it's not even capturing the full book. Look, it's, I mean, it just makes me want to get out my pencils and draw that eye right there. So I'm going to just kind of do a quick flip through. Here's the iguana for I. It's an alphabet, This poster has been made famous practically in every children's school library. This is made into a poster, and you see this at every kid's school. So you can kind of see, not kind of necessarily going in order, but anyway, Animalia and the 11th Hour. Yeah, I'm glad y'all are liking it, Trina, and anybody else. Okay, the other 2 books that I have here, right here, let me move this one. Then I'll show you some Nick Bantock stuff. This is the Ultimate Alphabet, and I bought it back when it came with the workbook, okay? It was a contest. Now, this was before the internet, okay? It was a contest that you had to mail in the workbook all checked out and filled out and completed to be entered in the contest. I found out that by the time I got the book, the contest had just been over. So I of course, just kept the book, you know. But Mike Wilkes is redoing, if not redoing this, the Ultimate Alphabet. He's doing more addition to it, or I forget. I follow him on Facebook, but he doesn't post often, you know. But the Ultimate Alphabet, I got to get up under the camera there because the camera's really low down. But it came out 1986. Okay. So I've had this probably since, late 86 because it was just, I think you had a year. So I think you had to turn this in by 1987. So maybe I've had this since 1987. Okay. And what he does, and I've shown this before, but it's been a while. So if you have, by Juju, if you've seen all this before, then just bear with us. I don't think I've shown it since I started uploading to YouTube. I don't think. But what it is he'll have, like, let's just go to F, for example. In F, there are 414, but you may finish up with more, 414 things that start with the letter F. Now, these are full on, I think, oil paintings that are huge. It says, I'll read it at the beginning of what the size of these paintings are. Okay, and I forget how long it took him to do them all. But every painting has hundreds of things in it that starts with that letter. And it came with the workbook, right? And you can check off everything that you found. I mean, there's I can't even tell you how many pages are here. They're not numbered. Okay. And I love this kind of stuff. Now you're old. You're old, Mon. You're old, Mon? Oh, good. Vicky said she got Animalia for $3.99 and free shipping on Amazon. It was a perfect condition. I know. I got mine for $4.95. Annie got it for me for $4.95 at a bookstore, vintage children's bookstore in LA. So anyway, I'll read a little bit about, I don't know that I'll read the whole thing, but if you're interested, we haven't read books for a while. Again, I want to talk about this one, and then I also want to show some of the James Christensen one, and then we'll talk a little bit about Nick Bantock. So if you're not into any of these art books, just don't email me. Don't give me a thumbs down. Just move on, people. Move on. Okay. Let me take a sip of coffee here. I won't read all 4 or 5 pages, however many there are, but I want to kind of skip over to the size of his paintings here. Let me read this first. The paintings that you will find reproduced in the pages of this book are the result of an idea that occurred to me several years ago. Now, mind you, the book's from 1986. My original concept was to create a set of pictures, one for each letter of the alphabet, and to attempt to include in them images of everything known. I pursued this idea, and my research indicated that even if I were to compromise over things such as the inclusion of every single variety of insect and make the canvases at least 40 square feet, it would still, with luck, take me 20 years to complete the task. This book, as it now appears, is a scaled-down version of that original idea and was completed in 4 years, almost to the day. It contains 7,777 items, although everyone with expertise in any particular subject will certainly be able to identify more in these images than I have intentionally included. Yeah, thanks, Vicki. In creating each of these works, my first task was to complete a list of words for possible inclusion in the picture and then to ascertain just what each thing looked like. This might take up to 3 weeks. And remember, this was before Google Images, right? Next, I produced a small rough pencil sketch to work out the composition, one of which is shown here. And is the seed from which the painting shown on the opposite page grew. So let me just kind of show you his step outs. And he puts himself in every picture. Look how he drew the shelves and then is filling up the shelves. Isn't that awesome? Bye, Lynn. The next stage was to produce a plethora of accurate but very basic drawings on flimsy paper to the final size of the individual elements that would be incorporated in the painting. These were done from as many sources of reference that I could find, so as to make the image as typical of the object depicted as possible. These drawings, often little more than outlines, would later be traced through onto the canvas where as much as 99% of the work took place. This procedure would be repeated at intervals during the creation of the picture. I then prepared a canvas with 6 coats of gesso, a brilliant white ground, carefully sandpapering each coat smooth in between applications. All the paintings were made with acrylic colors. Okay, I take that back. I didn't know if it was oils. They were made with acrylic. And I utilized a technique that would have been familiar to painters of the Renaissance more than 400 years ago. Here is a simplified example of the process. I would start with underpainting and slowly build up in monochrome the form and shade of each image in this way. I used a warm neutral tone mixed from burnt umber and deep purple for the underpainting of warm colors, and a cool neutral of burnt umber and ultramarine for cool colors. Then with the sable brush, I would begin applying the transparent glazes of the final cover, each glaze being modified and carefully modulated as I progressed. There are between 20 or more such layers in any small area of the painting, with the underpainting showing through. Such a process, of course, is slow and laborious, and to speed the drying time of colors, I would often work with a paintbrush in one hand and a hair dryer in the other, blow drying the paint as I proceeded. With the glazing of this color, when the glazing of this color was complete, I would glaze on the surface modulations of color that can be observed on any object, and then tones such as reflected shadows before finally applying highlights with opaque color. Now it goes on to say there's a lot more. It's got, the rest of this page is talking about how his process. Here's another one of his paintings in process. That's Denise messaging me. I'll get back with her in a little bit. She probably thinks I'm done streaming by now. So he goes on and on, but this book took him 4 years. Okay, that's what you need to know. It took 4 years. Um, Let me just read a little bit of his introduction. And here's what he looks like, at least in 1986. There's a drawing. He put himself in every picture, and sometimes he's even a little. He says oil. I mean, he says acrylic glazes. That's what he says. He's All the paintings were made with acrylic colors that he's in glazes, so acrylic. Okay, looking is not the same as seeing. We are all proficient at looking, but very poor at seeing. Much of an artist's training is concerned with learning to see, or more correctly, with relearning to see. Children have this ability from a very young age, but inevitably the modern environment, the education system, and the modes of communication that it utilizes soon reduce this priceless faculty to the level of merely being able to look at things. Some rare people retain this natural ability, but most of us have it educated out of us from our time at school onward. It is only through diligent training and after many years of perseverance that the potential artist is able to see once more. People who study such things calculate that the average person in an art gallery will spend 6 seconds in front of each picture. And from my own observations, I'm sure that is true. Just 6 seconds. If we merely look at a painting, then I am surprised it will hold our attention for this long. But as we see it, then we might be lost within it forever. This, then, the act of seeing, is what this book is about. Okay? For the last 4 years, I have been on a journey. The place that I visited is not to be found in any atlas, but it has proved to be unendingly fascinating and full of wonders, many of which were new to me and many which I delighted in rediscovering. This place is devoid of mountains, of valleys, deserts, and lakes. It is not divided by tropics and meridians, and no oceans lap at its shore. Yet we have each come to know the contours of this land in more intimate detail than the street outside our own front door. It is a continent which has been inhabited for centuries and within whose well defined borders can be found the whole universe. My journey has 26 stops. On the way, where I pause to make a painting and try to capture on canvas some of the spectacles that I found there. The name of this place is the English language, and in the pages that follow are to be found the pictures that I brought back with me from this grand tour. I hope that as you study these paintings and retrace my peregrination, you will experience for yourself the pleasures of my visit and become as enriched by the journey as I know I have been. And then, of course, I'm not going to read all this. I mean, I'd love to, but, yeah. So anyway, he talks about how he would add different things in proximity to others, and how easy or hard they are to find. Some items will require you to name them with a single word, like cat. Well, anyway, let's see, hyphenated, anteater. Hang on, he's talking about using two. Some words are hyphenated. Everyone with the Sometimes an image will depict something specific, sometimes something general, and sometimes both at once. A bird you might look at could be a blackbird, which would represent three words beginning with the letter B: bird, black, and blackbird. Okay? A snowman is made of snow, and this image might represent two words, while the bird in the painting. So, anyway, he's just talking about how you can, because it was a contest, right? That he was very specific on all a symbol might have a name relevant to it. A cross might be seen also as a plus sign. So there's all different kinds of little things that he's trying to describe what he did. I hope that you will find this journey as thrilling and as full of wonder and delights as I did. And here again, there's this self-portrait, which he puts in every one. So this is just an awesome book. If you can find it, I don't know how easy it is to find on Amazon or anywhere else. But for instance, let me just read one paragraph here. I've painted in the letter, this is just the letter A. I've painted 360 things beginning with the letter A in this picture. Try and spot an amputee. He is also an athlete, although not animate. An abbey, an apricot, an atlas, naming the oceans and continents that you find there. An artilleryman and his ammunition, an aardvark, an autogyro, which would be which should be upside down, an ark full of animals, an aerial paled by the distance, the Egyptian god Anubis, and a close colleague. If you tip the page away from you at an acute angle and using only one eye, look along the anamorphic projection to the right of the archangel, it will foreshorten into a perfect ant. So, if you look at it like this, you can see it. So there's all kinds of little things like that, but I mean, it's so stinking detailed. Oh, but anyway, I'll cover up the little nude statue he has here because it's Ustream, but just so you can see, look, there he is right there in this little building painting. It's on Amazon new and used. I know, Paul. And to think he spent 4 years doing these. And these canvases are, they're good size. So, anyway, I'll just read a couple more. B. Wander through this picture and attempt to find a big building built from lots of bees, a balustrade, a boomerang, a booth complete with buxom barmaid, various buttons, badges, braids, bows, and beads, a blonde baby with a baffling blemish on its bib, an ecclesiastical gentleman having as much trouble seeing as the one immediately behind him, and beds and more than one variety. I have depicted 538 bees altogether. So anyway, guys, again, it's just an awesome book, just filled with, every page is just, and you can follow. You. Whoops, sorry, guys. He is on Facebook, and this is called the Ultimate Alphabet. Let me get my camera steady. Mike Wilkes. Okay. Now I don't know if when you order it's going to come with the book the workbook or not. I don't know if the workbook was only came with the original book or not. So I don't know if you'll get that workbook with it or not. But there you go. All right. So next, I want to talk a little bit about the art of James Christensen. So I hope you guys are like enjoying this. I love talking about books and art books. And you got Animalia for $3.99 shipping. Oh, for 1 cent and $3.99 shipping. Great, Suzanne. See, there you go. The Art of James Christensen: A Journey of the Imagination, as told, and he has a little storyline and all this. Okay, let me get to the cover. And I bought this when it first came out as well. Let me see if I can find the. And now I'm not sure if he does acrylics or oil either. I think it's acrylic. Just so you can kind of see. Here's a big double page spread. He does lots of fairies, gnomes, woodland creatures, and just, literally his people are like an imagination. And again, look, he's carrying a little badger as a bag. And I'll read a little bit of this too. And this came out 1994, and I remember I bought it like that, like when as soon as it came out, I was waiting for this to come out. The book is what good one for your brain. It's in your car, yeah. Well, and I also thanks, Vicky. I hope y'all are enjoying it. If not, like I said, it's these shows are not for everybody. Book talk and whatnot, but we do one every year or so, right? Uh, the same artist as the Gnome book. I wonder. No, this one. No, it's not the same as. Well, he may have a Gnome book out, but I don't think if you're thinking of like the Gnome book, I don't think it's him. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Okay, so let me just read a little bit of his introduction. Y'all ready? Let me get a sip of coffee. I'm sure I put Miss Jean out, sound asleep. If she's even still here. Because, yeah. All right. Your train arrives at the station. You step onto the platform, carrying a briefcase and a duffel bag. The train swims into motion again, transforming into a school of salmon. Something lurches in your hand. The briefcase has grown turtle eggs, and the duffel bag has become a badger. Two short men with boat-shaped hats argue in Latin, their bobbing heads tossing the boat as if in a storm. A woman glides toward you on gossamer wings. She curtsies, raises her wand in a fine flourish, and touches you with a whiff of stardust. The sign on the building says Imagination Station. That dapper fellow with the impish grin is your tour guide. My name is James Christensen, he says. Welcome to a place just a little left of reality. I feel like I'm reading to kids. I don't mean to sound that way. I just get into the groove here, guys. Putting all this like real, Anyway, in this his dream is this his dream world or yours? You may never know for certain because Mr. Christensen has a remarkable gift for provoking each of us to daydream. Looking at his pictures invites us to board the train, yet each of us disembarks at our own hometown. He leads us into the enchanted corridors of our collective unconscious. The symbols and images reside deep in all of us, familiar but forgotten, like the faces of the king, queen, and jack on an old deck of cards. I first became acquainted with James Christensen and his work at the 1983 World Science Fiction Convention in Baltimore. Inside the gray exhibition hall, hanging from industrial pegboards, little paintings of elves and dwarves and fairies were attracting a crowd of enthusiastic fans, me among them. Somehow the artwork seemed to dispel the drabness of the convention hall and fill the air with the aroma of clover, pine, and moss. In 1985, Christensen's work began to appear as limited edition fine art prints. The community of fantasy artists celebrated the fact that one from our midst was establishing a new trail into the world of galleries and fine art. In the decades since then, his fans have grown to include a wide ranging and loyal family of people who have taken his tour into the wonderland of myth and magic. And then goes on to talk about, his artistic career, his career. Um, okay, Jean. And so the different chapters are, just even the chapter titles: setting sail, why knots, what knots, and square knots. Look, why knots and square knots. It has such a play on words, and that's one of the things that I really love about this kind of thing, whether it's like this or Mike Wilkes or any of these kind of things, is they use words in wordplay. I love wordplay, and I think that we just in our text world that we live in, we're doing the smallest little FB instead of Facebook. Everything is abbreviated, and we don't have that wonderful language. And of course, readers still do, but I'm just talking about, well, y'all know what I mean. Chapter 2: Cerebral Navigation, History, Mystery, and Everyday Life. 3. On Watch, Common Muse and Personal Views. Number 4. Lighter Fare, Puns, Parodies, and Alliterations. 5. Fellow Travelers, Passengers, Pilgrims, and Poop Decks. 6. On Course, Proven Paths and Different Tacks. 7. The Artist James Christensen, and a list of the plays. But I'm thinking that which one was it that has the most? Maybe it's under the chapter 4 and the puns. They have, see, it's hilarious. He's hilarious. So anyway, he also has all through the book little bits of drawings. I also have this, not the drawing, but the painting that's in this book is another one of in my mural room, and he's floor to ceiling. His chair stand starts at my floor, and he goes all the way up to the right before the arch in my room hits. So he's probably 7 feet tall. And I also did a checkerboard behind him. Now remember, Cam picked out the ones that he liked out of this book for us to make a mural room out of. Oh, you're welcome, Marita. But another thing that's awesome about him is his clothing. And he does like almost like a Renaissance type painting style of clothing, fabric, textures, fur, fabrics. They're all very, look at that. Can you see the detail? His detail is just amazing. Okay. I'm trying to just kind of glance over to see something else I can read. About 20 years ago, my good friend Ralph Reynolds, and this is James Christensen now. About 20 years ago, my good friend Ralph Reynolds mentioned to me that he never took his 30-minute drive home the same way twice. I laughed, thinking about him driving by way of Australia, and asked him if he didn't take an awfully long time to travel home each night. He laughed too and said, yes, it probably did take a little longer, but it was far more interesting, and he never knew what he was going to see. That resonated in my own life. Like many people in this age of getting there faster, now remember, this was before, internet like we, have, now. I sometimes lose sight of the journey in light of the goal. What my friend had done was a simple change in his routine, was to leave space for the unexpected within the bounds of an ordinary life. And he just, every chapter has just, I don't know, awesomeness. And then again, little sketches, drawings. If y'all have any questions, put them in caps. I'm trying to just find a few interesting things to to read. But he has it's play on words. Here's this one's called Another Fish Act. Is balancing fish this guy's job or just a hobby? I'm not sure. I'm confident, however, that you can't balance a fish on your nose without a counterweight. So he's got the little fish, he's got a little counterweight. But look at all the ribbons, the fabrics, the layers of everything. Look, isn't it just awesome sauce? And he's just got little, like this one just he says called Vanity on the right. And if y'all don't know, on some of the I have lists of all the different uh, artists that would use symbols to mean different things, like eggs would mean things, fish, all different kinds of things would mean there's symbology. Well, he's picked up some of those old, like, I don't want to say original, but probably as far back as he could ascertain, symbols for different things. So this one's called Vanity. And it says, I love to use symbols and metaphors, and this painting is loaded with them. The Latin says, oh, and does he have it in here? Yeah. So he'll do a lot of words like coming right out of their mouths or banners. Let me see if I can just find a banner real quick. One with a banner. He'll have banners, and look, see? He'll have the words. Okay, let me keep going. The Latin coming out of his mouth, which you may not be able to see very well, says, Vanity, vanity. I've painted the cold, haughty lady holding a cold-blooded frog, a medieval symbol of pride. The bureaucrats are locked in their self-important discussions. The masked figure holds an egg, symbol of the soul, but it's cracked. Juxtaposed are symbols of corruption and mortality. Rats, flies, dead flowers, the skull atop a staff. Less obvious, perhaps, are the cathedral, castle, and village symbolizing the church, state, and city. Our institutions are religion, power, and civilized society. But even these impressive edifices are situated atop cracked foundations. So you see how everything is all very symbolized in his work. I love that. I just love this. Hey, Cable Claire, did I miss? Yeah, I think I said hi to you. At reality, take a left. I mean, look at this. And I'll read a little bit, but I'll try to do a flip through here. This journey has no nameable ports of call, no identifiable destinations, no placement in time and space. It is not a location, but a thought. It's a voyage of the mind to a world that is just a little to the left of reality. The imagery isn't historically accurate. It's not meant to be. The feeling is one of being in another place, another time, but it's a time and place that have never really existed. Birds, toads, butterflies, fish, and other creatures are usually inhabitants of this world, but they aren't governed by the same set of rules. They are tied to, but not restricted by, reality. It's a fantastical world, offering allusions and references to ordinary reality. That bond between fantasy and reality is an essential roadmap for the voyage. Imagination, with its boundless, infinite space, offers clues and inspirations about the literal world. The quirks and oddities of perspective, scale, and juxtaposition offer vantage points from which to survey the journey of life. I just love this book. I just want to sit here and pet it. So there's the pic. This is one of the ones that we did in my mural room. That. This is called the Carpet Bag Man. This one's called Tea Time. See, handing him a little teacup. See the little man on his hat? Yeah. I just love this I love the imagination of it. And then he does these kind of fairies and woodlands. Here's the Shakespearean fantasy. And I can't get much closer than this or it pixelates. And he has posters and paintings and even has figurines. Then all along the borders are his little drawings. Here's the fish lute. He's got his little foot on a shell there, and he's playing a fish lute. Something's fishy, does a lot of fish. Here's the forest fisherman. I hope y'all are enjoying this. See all kinds of little hidden things and meanings. Voyage with the Ambassador. And again, so I took this idea of the pelican and put it with my other boat. And we used him as pulling the other boat that we did. And we have these fish in there. So Cam and I had a great time painting the mural room using James Christensen. I got other things in there too, but I did banners, ribbons. I have a little castle in the trees. Other things other than just like James Christensen stuff, but we use that as an inspiration. So you can see. I love the layers of his fabrics and the texture, the pattern layers and his colors are just so awesome. Cerebral navigation, history, mystery, and everyday life. I'll read a little chapter here. It seems that many adults, well, not a whole chapter, but a paragraph. It seems that many adults see a voyage of the imagination as something reserved for artists, writers, and other creative people. I don't agree with that. Yes, there are people with extraordinary talent, but creativity and talent are not the same thing. With practice, we all have access to creativity no matter where our talents lie. The way I see creativity and imagination is something like a library card catalog, except that the cards are made of concepts, ideas, visions, pictures, all the facets of one's personal life experiences. A single memory can create many different cards. A book or a film that changes your thinking may create dozens. Both inventiveness and fun come about by combining the cards in new ways. For instance, I've used the book 101 Things to Do with an Alligator with students as an exercise in imagination. It's always pretty easy to come up with the first 5 or 6 things of what to do with an alligator, like handbags or shoes or briefcases. But where do you go for number 78? To come up with that idea, you could strap an alligator on each foot and use them for water skis, means that you can go back to the card file and start mixing up concepts. And I know I've shown y'all different, you know, not mind mapping, but kind of listing techniques where you have different lists of, things, let's say 3 different lists, like, a noun, a verb, a color, an adverb, and you have them in lists. And if you just kind of randomly, just even close your eyes and pick, 3 or 4 different things off of each list and combine them, like we did, I can't think of them now. We've done them, so it's been a while since we've done them. But using color combinations to make, you know, different items, different colors, and in different settings than you normally would think of it. And all it takes is some lists. It just takes some list of different things and combining them in different ways. So anyway, that just came to mind when he was talking about the alligator as water skis. The alligator game makes a funny example, but maybe the people in the aerospace industry did something similar. They wanted a material lighter than metal, something that they could handle the high temperatures that occur when the shuttle re enters the Earth's atmosphere. I can see somebody sitting at a computer working on a screen filled equation. He or she picks up the coffee mug and flash. What if we use ceramic panels? A couple of formerly unrelated cards are now side by side, and a whole new field of study begins. I see the use of imagination as a two-part process: feeding and exercise. Developing your card file is like the feeding part. Read, think, experience, look around, continue learning for your whole life. Everything that we now know is the sum of our collected experience. Nothing comes from nothing. If you don't keep expanding your card file, and I do this literally, in my idea inspiration notebooks, you will be stuck forever using, if you don't keep expanding your card file, you will be stuck forever using limited options and resources, mired in the "we've always done it this way" mode of operating, and never getting beyond the known solutions, and inevitably become obsolete for real problem solving. The exercise comes about when one practices combining the cards and putting them together in new ways. So, just kind of goes on to talk about Edison, the Einsteins, and using your imagination. Active imagination works within your own life, expanding the scope of whatever endeavor you're involved in. I can't promise you'll become an Einstein. This doesn't mean all right, and then he goes on to say it doesn't mean that he's trying to paint exactly like a Dorr and the people that he's influenced by, but he's looking at nursery rhymes. So he's just combining things. I can't read everything. I'm just kind of trying to give you a little gist of each chapter. Time and again, I've had someone say, "My, what an imagination you have," as if I'd been twinkled by the talent fairy or something. Sometimes when I hear that, I want to say, it's not my imagination that's so extraordinary. It's the everyday, everything you see and experience presents you with a terrific opportunity to awaken yours. So anyway, just the text and the pictures are awesome. So here, this one's called Rhymes and Reason. Rhymes and Reasons. So I hope you can kind of see some of the... Oh, thanks, Iffy. Well, I hope y'all are enjoying this. But again, look at all the little... think of the hundreds of thousands of hours he's put into this. It's not like, he just was born with a pencil in his hand and could just come up with this overnight. You know, I think sometimes people think that's how it works. And anyway, musing on the muses. The man who came down from the moon. That's this one right here. And again, I have this one in my room. I don't know if I can take a picture of that one. Let me see. Where's my iPad? And again, my iPad doesn't take as good of pictures as my iPhone, but here's the one that I showed earlier. This is like probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's probably about 6 feet of tall right there. Then I have my own little castle, a bluebird. You can't see because it wants to flash out, but I want to give you just the scale of the size of it. But let me go take a picture of this guy here. Let me put a pencil. Hang on. Let's see if I can fix it because it's right by a window and I had to take a picture by the with the wind. Oh, sorry guys. With the window right there. Let's see. Um, see if I can fix that so you can see it. So I want you to see the size. Yeah. Try to lighten it up because it's going to be in the dark. All right, you won't be able to see it too much, but you can see a good scale. So this guy right here, okay, now I have a shelf covering up half of them because I moved the room around since we've painted this. But here's the window, and above the window I have this big like birdhouse thing, and there's a bird up there, right there. But here is the guy in the moon. There's the moon. Here's you can see how the roof line goes. And he's half covered up with my bookshelf there. But I think you can kind of see him, how big he is. So he goes way down here, and his stars are in his clothes. Cameron helped me paint this one. And he's looking out the window, hanging by the moon there. So yeah, that was fun. Okay, moving on. Rabbit trail. So yeah, here's Jonah in the fish. Look at that. It's like a steampunk fish. Here's the widow's mite. Look at that beautiful face. That's just awesome. And then again, this is like you know, like a ghostly fairy here. Candle at midnight. I mean, just every one. Are they beautiful? I just get so inspired and so, I don't know. I just love, it just inspires me. It inspires me to look at that lace. The quartet. I know it flashes out, guys, because it's got a shiny surface, but I know. Isn't that beautiful? Two angels there. Two angels discussing Botticelli. Have y'all seen the painting with the two angels? Well, anyway. The Emperor Constantinople and Vanity on a pleasure cruise across Quattrocento landscape. Oh, I just love every bit of it. Every bit of it. This guy's fishing in a bucket. face. Yeah, he'll use inspiration from different original, you know, Renaissance and different paintings. Yeah. On watch, common views and personal views. And some of it's just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, some of it's really funny. I'll just read a quick paragraph. Many of my paintings evolve for me, both in terms of meaning and image. During the painting process, I think that is because active imagination is much more than the conscious, purposeful mixing of cards from one's card file. In keeping the everyday awake part of the mind busy, observing and absorbing new stuff for the card file, the subconscious section of memory storage begins making groups of cards all on its own. This means there can be almost as much surprise for me as for the viewer. And that's what I love about, when we do our art cards and our mixed media and our things that just come to mind as we're doing them. It's just, like when I set those scissors on top of that face the other day. I mean, those are the kind of things it's like, oh, that's so cool. You know, I think the other mind creates another bridge between myself and the viewer. Apparently, we all know more than we know that we know. And whether we call it spirit or psyche or an intuition, it looks as if we share some of it. Often I begin with the idea of finding interesting, find, and Often I begin with an idea I find interesting to paint, but still the concept must evolve. At some point, the painting will say, to me as well as to the viewer, hey, look at this. Uh, oh, I saw, yeah, okay. That doesn't mean paintings happen by chance. The way it feels to me is that the conscious mind, whose driving force is analysis and logic, rules the design. But the other mind distills the concepts, visions, ideas, and memories in the imagination's card file. I don't know. You'd have to just kind of read the whole thing to get his whole, imagination concept. This is, let's see, I don't know what this one's called here. But anyway, you can see, I love the fabric. That to me is just what he does so well. And the colors in his fabrics. Actors, aristocrats, and bureaucrats. The burden of the responsible man. I love it. Here's the responsible woman. And I know he's got a print, and I think he's even got a, what do you call it, a ceramic of this. And again, love all the little drawing details. Sometimes the spirit touches us through our weakness. He has one of his characters is a hunchback man that he has all through here. I don't know if I hope I'll spot it when I come to it. But there's some drummers playing the back on his back with the drumsticks, and it's called Playing a Hunch. Just, seven symbols. The burden of the common man. He's just got, I don't know. Old fish wizard. You're glad you bought this book? Yeah. The butterfly fisherman. So I hope you're able to see some of it, guys. This is another one I did a painting of for the room. This one right here, I did that on a canvas. again, Cam and I wanted to do a whole fantasy mural room. And I wanted that for the kids too, to have a room with just completely, full of imagination. Here's the old scholar with the wise owl. I know, I love the sketches too, Paula. Puns, parodies, and alliterations. There are times when I paint an image for no reason other than the delight of a silly or absurd idea. I've been keeping sketchbooks for the past 20 years or so, a kind of visual diary, and this is often where I record some of my quip and quote that make me laugh. Often enough, these little sketchbook drawings are the impetus behind a painting. Other times, some little character will just seem to belong in a painting, not as the main focus, but almost as a theatrical aside, a pictorial one liner. Sometimes, after the work is done, I discover there is a serious element inside all the fun. But that's not the driving force. I love the whimsical, the nonsensical things in life, whether they appear to have any serious value or not. Humor is a bright spark of illumination that connects the sender's mind with that of the receiver. It travels perhaps not quite at the speed of light, but with an exuberant rapidity. Anyone who has ever watched a good comic perform for an audience understands the split-second reaction time between when the humorous message is sent and when the listeners catch the witticism. Humor connects us to each other, to the sudden, pleasurable understanding of something witty or whimsical seems to me an excellent vehicle for communication. And so he talks about he's got some examples of some of his paintings. Um, he talks about merriment and artwork as suspect. There's an attitude that if there's humor in art, it robs the work of its substance. The easy solution for contemporary art is to create facade of profundity by focusing on the negative, like the rape of the natural world, urban decay, racial separation. It isn't that these are not serious problems, but if they are not balanced within the art of humor, wit, and the survival of goodness and beauty, the view cannot be other than one sided. So that's kind of a good point there. Humor communicates, and it does so with leaps and bounds that are pleasant and mentally invigorating. It also works because it allows us to play with the unexpected. And then he says, sometimes in his paintings, the surprise is obvious, and of course, and sometimes it's not. Hope y'all are enjoying this. I know I have gone through this book, but it's been a while. The bird hunters, just all kind of love her too. Carrying fish. I'm just kind of looking at it too. Talking about humor and art. Yeah, here's playing a hunch. But look at all the little characters. He called that a dozen demons. Look, a dozen demons going across there. I love this one. Okay. A man taking a leak on a tiled wall for a walk. He's taking a leak for a walk. Ah, and this guy, here's the other one that I have painted in my room. This guy here. Oh my goodness. The fish kite, cod and codger. You like that one too. I know, it's funny, isn't it? Fellow travelers, passengers, pilgrims, and poop decks. We breathe in the histories, tales, adventures, experiences, ideas, sorrows, and joys of our fellow travelers. This is the truest sense. Is in its truest sense inspiration. Breathing in whatever is around us. I'm aware of how indebted an artist is to all his companions on the journey, whether they're living friends and family or the writers, artists, and thinkers who have gone before. It seems to me that our travel through life resembles the winding progress of a river, and a boat is an excellent metaphor for the journey we make. On a boat, space is limited and many disparate elements or people come together, maybe even are forced together. Sometimes we travel with chosen companions, sometimes our companions are chance encounters. We don't always know them well, sometimes we don't enjoy them very much. All of us have times in our lives when we feel as if we're trying to navigate upstream, or that somehow, or that someone else is steering. Boats can also symbolize the things that we do that define our lives. Someone has to build a boat. It doesn't just happen, not in this universe anyway. I believe each of us has a purpose in this life and that we best succeed in finding it when we take care of our boats and give some thought to our journey. And then he goes on to describe the paintings called the Maiden Voyage, and all the different boat metaphors that he's using in his paintings in this section. Okay, so again, here we go. Side wheeler, full steam, and then he's got a little dragon in there. I know, isn't it a great book? Nomadic Rose. Anybody else? Maiden Voyage. And look, he's got an astronaut. It's in space. Look at that. Isn't that awesome, guys? Maiden Voyage. Traveling the river of time. The great river has been a metaphor for life's journey since civilization first discovered the otherworldliness of traveling on water. In any number of myths and religions, mortality is bounded by a river that must be crossed to reach the afterlife. And he talks about how he's put the boats in his work that represent that. Voyage with a Puffin. I know. Hope y'all are enjoying this. Low tech. This one's called Low Tech. Look, it's got a lamp and a chair. It's got some like backpack strapped on him. Ah, look at that. Batteries. Satellite dish. Look. Oh my gosh. Oh, good. I'm glad y'all are enjoying it. I love it. Three wise men in a boat. And then again, all the little doodles and little drawings and sketches that he has all around. But it's because he does hundreds of these that he can do stuff like this. Two old fairies just getting from here to there. Again, they always have fish like on a leash. Look at the woods. Look at the leaves, the moss, the depth. This one's called Courtship. Anyone who has stood on the precipice of revealing their true emotions toward another will find this scene familiar. I'm not certain whether the little hunchback is holding up the rose because he wonders if it's enough to capture the lady's affections, or if he's merely declaring his love and saying, "Here I go, come what may." We're getting there, guys. There's Santa on a pig. And again, he's got posters and ceramics and just tons of. I mean, I'm just wanting to sit and read every little thing again because I've read the book from cover to cover, but it's been a long time since I've really read it. Pilgrimage. Look at this. Oh, okay, Colleen. Thanks for coming. I'm gonna finish showing this one. I'm gonna show some Nick Bantock. Just kind of book talk today. The Royal Procession. Let's start over here. Here's the Royal Procession. Goes across 2 pages there, guys. I'm trying to keep the glare off. Look. Isn't it just beautiful, 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 beautiful? So inspiring to me. This is a famous, one of his famous paintings here. Here's the professional fish walker. Proven pass and different tacks. I saw Dolly right there. I'm not sure where he went with this Dolly, but let's read some of this. When I say I'm a fantasy painter, a lot of people envision bosomy ladies in metal bras and barbarians with bulging muscles and fur jock straps. Much as I love the images of artists like Frank Frazetta, that's not all there is to it. The truth is that fantastic art, which is the more official title, has a history as long as mankind's. And he goes into a little bit of the history, all the way back to cave paintings, the Christian church, the Renaissance. Talk about artists that worked not in their best genre. The poet. Okay. There are a lot of fun and interesting paintings. World War I changed the world. Artists became cynical and disillusioned, and their work, however imaginative, became less romanticized. Freud's theories of the unconscious became popular. Salvador Dali's strange images, which he said were pictures of his dreams, were compelling but disquieting. The surrealists like Dali and his contemporaries influenced me because I love the imaginative qualities of their work, but I find that their philosophy is nihilistic, too far negative, and bleak. Nor did the abstract geometric art of this century call to me. I had to find my own direction. A couple of decades ago, my love for drawing, for the craft of painting, would have locked me forever into illustrating, a 4-letter word in New York. In fact, plenty of artists have made careers doing book and magazine covers. Now, however, many are beginning to be recognized as fine artists. I think that fantasy has become more popular because so many people want to look at art that has imagination and meaning. They want access to the heart of a painting. No coldly logical artistic theory, however impressive, can fill the need we have to connect with one another. Some time ago, a person came up to me and said, About a year ago, I bought one of your paintings with a group of little guys in it. I hung it on the wall with a picture light over it. And that light is the last thing I turn off at night. Sometime in the evening, I sit in my chair and just look at the painting. Over the year, I've made my meanings up for all the characters, named them, given them personalities and life histories. And then Christensen goes on to say, now this was a businessman, not a writer, not an artistic person. And then this man said to me, is it okay that I've done that? As if I might frown on him and say sternly, no, it's not okay. I didn't put those meanings in there, so you shouldn't either. He says, I'm delighted that he has let his own imagination take over and supplied meanings of his own. That is exactly what I want my heart to do. And I say that, and so is he. Anytime that someone looks into one of my paintings and brings his or her own unique experience to the interpretation, I feel I've succeeded in drawing that person into the process. I paint for myself, but I also want to communicate the idea that people need to trust themselves and their own ideas with my art. If I want you to get a specific message, then it's my job to give you enough universal, readable information to provide access to the image. We all have imagination. We are all capable of looking at a work of art, bringing our own perspective to it, and coming up with our own answers. There are times when you have no access to what I meant to a painting. The fish kite, page 122, is a good example of this. There's no way to know that this is my interpretation of how a relationship functions unless I tell you. Yet you have access to the imagery through your own imagination. Your feelings about what a painting means are no less valid than mine, even though I made the painting. You can only add to the art, not take away from it, by trusting your own active imagination. I think part of my job as an artist is to urge adults to be willing to use their imagination to explore with the same brave curiosity that children have. Kids don't worry about being right when their imaginations are engaged. They jump right in. The journey is open ended, anything can happen. Growing up doesn't steal that ability from us, but our work, our learned solutions, our self consciousness, can imprison imagination or keep it dormant. I think that in most of us, imagination longs to be awakened and to be of use. In the process of being used, our imaginations grow and stretch. We expand our horizons. We create new possibilities in the practical world. And when art and imagination work together, we get true insights into ourselves. The thing is to trust yourself. In an age when an individual experience is often undervalued, it's important to remember that no one but you can be you. Think your thoughts, have your unique perspective. What I hope is that in looking at my paintings and reading what I was thinking about while I made them, you begin to say to yourself, okay, now what does this mean to me? When you look into a painting and ponder its meaning without being told what it's about, then you have truly begun a voyage of the imagination. Isn't that awesome? So there we go, guys. There's still a few more paintings in here, but I just want to kind of show them to you. Again, I would so recommend this book. So recommend this book. It's one of my all-time favorite art books. Duet for a Single Musician. There you go, Jean, if Jean's still awake. One Light. Again, there's this little hunchback character. Under this one, he says, the infinite checkerboard becomes the whole earth, and here's the hunchback, the everyman, with his single tiny light. This is a study of balances and opposites, light against dark, life against death. The flower on his sleeve is life. The pin in his hat is a reminder of death. The main message is to let your own light shine. Together we light up the world. You ordered at Flint Rock? Yeah. You won't be sorry. And then he goes on here and talks a little bit about James himself. And anyway, The Art of James Christensen, A Journey of the Imagination. He's got another book out too. I don't remember what it was. Somebody told me last time we talked about it. So anyway, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. And I'll leave this here for just a minute if you want to look at it and order it while I go run downstairs, take a quick break, guys, and then I will just take a few minutes to show you some Nick Bantock books. And yeah, A Journey of the Imagination. There it is right there, Elk Lady. All right, I'll be right back, guys. Give me just a minute. Okay, I'll spend a few minutes with some Nick Bantock books, and I gotta go grab me something to eat and make my big salad before Jean's show comes on. So, okay, so there we go on that, guys. I hope that's something y'all enjoyed. Now, just for a few minutes, I'll talk about some Nick Bantock books, which is another awesome artist. And let's start with the Griffin and Sabine. Okay, I think these are. So, if you've not seen, let's see, where's the first one? Sabine's notebook. Here's, this is the first one here. Have them out of order, but if y'all aren't familiar with Nick Bantock, Griffin and Sabine, there are a whole series of books. This is the first one, I think, that came out in, let's see what year, 1991. So the first one came out in 1991 and probably like 92 or 3, 4, 5, 6. So the next couple, every, year or two. And it's an extraordinary correspondence, and it's a story. And this is like, everything is tipped in with letters. Okay, there's all kinds of postcards and letters and tip-ins and a whole story, right? A whole story. And there's, like 5 or 6 books of it. So I'm not going to read it to you. Don't worry. But I just wanted to show you that if you like awesome art and mail art correspondence type combination of the two, then you will love Griffin and Sabine. Now, I bought them all as they came out, one by one in hardback. I have no clue how easily they're found now, but they're all essentially the same type of look with the correspondence, the letters, the postcard type thing in each one. But he's also got a couple other things out. The Forgetting Room, I think the only one I have, there's one with some drawers, and I forget the name of that one, but I think that's the only book that I don't have by him. But again, it's just all kinds of awesomeness. And I have a couple other authors that have this kind of thing going on, with letters and notes and clues and things like that in them. I didn't bring them upstairs. They're not here in my art stash. Okay, then there's Urgent Second Class. I would read, yeah, I'd read them in order. Yeah, for sure, Terry. Okay, Urgent Second Class, creating curious collage, dubious documents, and other art from ephemera. And that's exactly what it pretty much says it all. And I think this did, it only came out in paperback as far as I know, because I got it when it first came out, and I don't think it was in hardback. It's a Chronicle book, 2004. Gosh, has it been that long? And it's just all how he creates his faux ephemera, his funny maps and parts of the world, and how he uses vintage photographs and all that. And it shows his technique. Like here's commercial ephemera that he'll use to turn into faux ephemera and do his artwork from. So how he does his own postage, his own faux postage, his stamps, all of that. It's he just that's what he does. Faux ephemera, faux postage, and there's his picture right there. And I've got two other books of his. This one's his biography, The Artful Dodger, Images and Reflections. It talks about how he started out in book cover illustration, I think, was his first professional job. Was there's an art college, but yeah, he started out illustrating books as a book. He was a book illustrator, cover illustrator. See, you can kind of see all the different kinds of books he's illustrated. But it's his biography, so it's really interesting and talks about how he went through all that, how he, evolved into his postage and his faux ephemera type thing, and that look. So you just kind of get an idea here. Not Oh, this is the drawer thing. This is that book that I was talking about. That's the South Sea drawer. What's the name of the book though? The Egyptian Jukebox. Okay, this is the one I don't have. The Egyptian Jukebox. And it's all drawers. This is like inside of a drawer, and there's stories with these. It's still on Amazon. Okay. Yeah, I did see that there was another Griffin and Sabine coming out. And I follow him on Facebook. Again, he's not one that posts very often. Here's some postcards. I forget who sent them. One of you guys sent me a couple of these postcards, and I just keep them in the book. So anyway, this is his whole biography. So you can see the faux postage and the faux ephemera type things. Okay. Just doing a quick flip. I'm not reading anything about it. Then the other thing, this was the last book that I've seen that he's come out with, The Trickster's Hat. And we've done a couple projects out of this. They're not, I don't think it was way before, well, not way before, but before I started uploading to YouTube, I think. It's called The Trickster's Hat, A Mischievous Apprenticeship in Creativity. And I have read bits of this to you out loud. And we've done a couple of the projects. The thing about these projects, though, trying to do them during a stream, is they do take quite a bit of preparation, especially if they're 2 or 3 hour exercises. Let me get a sip of coffee here, guys. But we have done a couple things from the book that came out 2014. 2014. So this was like right before I started uploading to YouTube, although there may be some bits of this on there at the very beginning. I don't remember. So Paula said it was her. Was you the one that told me about coming to Amazon? I mean, coming out? I don't remember. Paula? Could be. And for those of y'all that don't know, Paula is journal artista and musical scrapper is Jean. I get people going, who's Jean and who's Paula? You're always talking about Paula and Jean. So let me just read a little bit of the intro here. Okay. A warning. If you want a shortcut to originality, this book is not for you. This is a book of exercises, collage mostly, but collage and writing exercises. And they have different materials that he likes you to use, different sizes, 20 by 10. He's just got some recommendations. Now, again, you use what you have, but um, oh, his postcard. You sent me the postcards. Okay, let me put a note. Let me pencil that in, Paula, because I like to know who sent me stuff. I like to try to remember. So let me just put it in pencil. Thank you, Paula. You're the sweetest one. Okay, we'll put that in there. Okay, the trickster's hat. Where to start? Okay, let me see. Okay, I'm trying to remember how long this is. Well, I'll read for a couple minutes. This one is called The Trickster's Hat, a mischievous apprenticeship in creativity. Okay. Okay, and I've read this before a couple of times here, especially when I first got the book. Again, I don't know that it was uploaded to YouTube, and of course, if it was on Ustream, it's long since gone. Yeah, it's dusk. Let me get in a mood here. We got to get into a reading mood. It's dusk. A stranger is driving around the countryside, utterly lost. Eventually, he comes to a tiny hamlet. The place is deserted, apart from a little man sitting on a rustic fence. The stranger winds his window down and asks for direction to Fortune's Hall. The little man removes his peculiar battered hat, places it upside down between his knees, scratches his head, and without looking up, begins. It's like this, he says. You take the first right. Maybe I should do that in a southern accent. It's like this. No, I won't do that to you guys. It's like this, he says. You take the first right, the third left, the second right, pass over the humpback bridge, then you carry on till you reach the goat's arms. A mile after that you'll see. And so he continues for a full 2 minutes. Finally, he completes the impossibly convoluted stream of direction, replaces his hat, fixes the stranger with a piercing gaze, and declares, "But if I were you, I wouldn't start from here." Our friend the stranger has a problem. If you were he, what would you do next? You cannot retrace your steps. There's no one else to ask. You are obliged to keep driving in the hope that you will stumble on your destination before the night descends. A troublesome conundrum, or maybe not. If you are less specific about your destination, then maybe you aren't lost at all. Who is the trickster, and what else does he have in his hat? Of all the reasons for being an artist, there is one that outweighs all the others. Art offers a path to our souls. But this path isn't direct. There are no shortcuts, the road is confusing, and seemingly getting lost along the way is inevitable. However, perhaps that's the point. After all, if it were simply a matter of going from A to B as a crow flies, how much would we learn along the way? In order to gather wisdom, we are obliged to stumble bomb our search, careening us against the periphery of our comfort and comprehension. By nature, these wanderings aren't easy. We have been told so many times if we want something badly enough and focus hard enough we can have it. But that concept falls prey to the notion that we can conceive what we need, that we know the best way to go, that there's a best way to go. We can't get far enough back from the road to see the topography. Our perception of where we might be going will thankfully always be wrong. That's where the trickster comes in. Having a wise joker as our journey's companion, someone whose very nature embodies misdirection, is an enormous asset, and we all need all the help we can get. So for the duration of this book, the trickster, who comes ready furnished with a map and an exercise hat, will be joining us. He has much to give, but remember, he has no qualms about tripping us awake if our boots get too filled with ego. And then he goes on to, it goes on a few more pages. But what it does is once you get into the exercises, is he tells you things to do, and like getting started can be the hardest part of the working day. I always make sure that when I go to the studio, I do something I feel like doing and not something I should or ought to do, even if it's only for the first 20 minutes. It's important to be obligation free. Whether you want to start something fresh or pick up where you left off the previous day, the anxiety around beginning or screwing up what you've already done will likely turn you into a procrastinator. But if on before you take on anything meaty, you just doodle or splash paint into a bit of paper or scrapboard, you can cut through some of the self-doubts, the resentments about having dragged yourself away from the comfy chair. In this first exercise, we're going to climb into that arena unannounced and through a very small window. So he tells you to get a 2 by 2 piece of paper. You got 10 minutes. Draw a 2 by 2 inch Draw a 2-inch square. Inside the square, draw as many animals as you can in 5 minutes. It's up to you how you interpret that. Now draw a second 2 by 2 inch square, but leave one of the four sides open. Then draw as many animals as you can escaping out of the square. Again, you have 5 minutes. Hint, this is not about drawing skills. It's not a test. It's about doing something relatively lighthearted that gets you moving, but mostly it's to remind yourself that you need to enjoy what you're doing. Exercise 2. So it goes on. So some of them get a little more complicated, and because of the time constraints, some are, hours. Some you have to come back the next day. So they're kind of hard to do on a live stream. But again, if you just want some creativity challenges, then you might want to look at it. I don't know how much you can see on Amazon or if you see it in the store. I still see this one in the store every now and then. So that's that. So anyway, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed part 1, which was using clip art for inspiration and creativity ideas. And the second one pretty much focused on some books and reading some excerpts from them. We didn't get a lot, done, but it was more on inspiration and idea and creativity today. So, yeah. So, any questions or anything, guys? Hope y'all enjoyed it. Those of y'all that stayed and watched it, if it missed seeing anybody, thanks for being here. And if anybody wants to put any links or anything into the chat for like Jean, she streams at 4. Um, okay, Jean. You're welcome, Sandy. Oh, I'm glad it was a lovely afternoon across the pond for you. Yes, it's about time to say bye. I have to go make my big salad before you stream at 4, Jean. And my throat's starting to, I'm running out of voice. Thanks. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. And yeah, you're welcome, guys. And good. I'm glad. So thanks everybody, and we'll see you on. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I'm inkiwell, INKIWELL. Facebook, Dede Willingham. Instagram, inkiwell. And if you just put in Dede Willingham, you'll be able to find me all over the place. Aw, thanks, Terry. You're welcome, Paul, and everybody else. Any idea of your impromptu this week? No, I don't. Don't know yet. I have some other things I have to do this week. Remember, my mom's coming next Monday, so I do have to get some things done. I want to get the carpets cleaned. I want to buy some new sheets. There's some things I've got to do extra shopping this week before Mom and Ken come next month. They'll be here Monday night. I'll still stream next Monday, of course, and then Mom and I will probably do a show either next Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll do a scrapbook show together. So that'll be me and Mom. So, okay, guys. Thanks. Bye.